Hello there everybody, how's it going and how have you been? Welcome back to SpaceChem. Before I get right into the levels, I want to say a couple of things. First off, I have a new mouse, which is awesome because I don't have to worry about it not clicking right. I'm still getting a little bit used to its different sensitivity, but it should work a lot better than my old mouse. Something else I do want to mention is that I already tried to record this episode once, and it was a spectacular failure because, well, basically during one half, my dogs kept barking right outside of the room I was recording in, so there's a lot of that somewhat unpleasant noise. And apparently, when I got up to try to get them to quiet down, I accidentally stopped the recording. No big deal, I thought. I'll just start another one and stitch the two of them together and make the episode for you guys. Well, it didn't record my microphone for that second part, like, at all. Apparently, somehow it got bumped, or I accidentally muted it, or something, but point is, it didn't record me talking at all. So I decided to just scrap the whole thing, but unfortunately I do still kind of remember my solutions to these levels, so I'm probably going to solve them a lot faster than I did, but you'll still get to see how you'll still can't talk. You'll still get to see them solved, so every day is the first day. Ooh, we have a little bit of story. Okay. Now let's see. In the failed recording of 3, I decided to just not read the stories still. But maybe I should give it a shot. I kind of want to. Yeah, you know what? Let's try. Hope this isn't too terrible. I apologize if it is. A deep voice bellowed from behind the prefabricate. Bleh. Wow, I already... Maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't read the story. I'll just leave it on screen for you guys to read it yourselves, and I'll just continue on. If enough of you do show up and ask that I do start reading the stories, I will happily go ahead. If you guys really want, I'll even make a bonus episode where I read over all the story pages that I had skipped up to that point. So let's just get into this first level. Alright. We're being given atoms of hydrogen and atoms of carbon, and we want to make a molecule of acetylene. Now I think what I did was I had the bonders set up just like this, and you'll see why in a second. I had red calling in the hydrogen. Yeah, now, the tricky part with this level is that, or at least the way I'm solving it, is that I'm making half of the acetylene on each circuit, and then basically just delivering it every other time. It's weird, but hopefully you'll understand when I make it. This is really kind of awkward, already knowing what I'm doing and not figuring it out as I go along. I would have imagined that it would be the opposite. Okay. So, basically, first step, like always, is you call in the atom that you're playing with, and you grab onto it. And then red comes down here, calls in the carbon, and sticks the hydrogen to it. Now, I think what I did was, yeah, I had him spin it so that the carbon points up. Ooh, I actually don't remember this later part too well. I think what I did was I had him put it down and then toggle himself off and blue on. I'm looking over at the recording window really quick. It looks like I'm peeking the mic a bit. I hope I'm not. Because the difficult thing about this game is that I don't know how to back up the save so that if a recording does fail, I can just pop that back into the program. So basically what that means is that if a recording fails, I have to delete the profile, start it over from scratch, and work my way all the way back up to where we were. Now, at the moment, that's not too bad, because there's just the tutorial planets, the 2 Cernimers. And to be fair, I am creating a guide that I can then follow for myself, so I don't have to figure out the solutions all over again. But it's still probably going to be a little bit time consuming, and I'd rather avoid that at all costs. So what was it that I was... So, sorry about that little ramble, I just distracted myself. Okay, so the carbon's here, the hydrogen is here. I want blue... So, ooh. Yeah, okay, I think I remember this part. And blue does not have enough room, so I'm going to move his starting spot over here. Put his sink right there. Put down 3 commands. Now I do want him to grab on this spot, not this spot, and you will see why when I get the solution up and running. Whoop. Even with the new mouse, I'm still misplacing symbols. And, okay. Now we gotta finish off red. Oop. The touchpad on my laptop is still on. There we go. Okay, so I want red to grab... Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Okay. Yeah, so this is my solution, more or less. I think blue had a little bit longer of a track, but that's okay. So basically what will happen when we start it is, just like I said, red calls in a hydrogen, comes down here, calls in a carbon, and connects the chip. The carbon is spun upright, it's put down. Now blue tries to bond, but there's nothing there to bond to, so nothing happens. He doesn't grab anything, he doesn't put anything down, and he doesn't deliver anything. He just turns red on, and lets red move the half acetylene to its other spot. But this time, when he comes around again, now all of the molecule is in place. So now when blue goes, he makes the triple bond, and then now that there's something there for him to grab onto, because red put it there last time around, he was able to grab the molecule and deliver it. Yes, I'm both glad that I remembered my solution, because that means that I was actually able to remember something kind of complicated, and normally that's a little tricky for me. But I'm also a little sad, because part of the fun is figuring out a solution to each of these problems, and I feel like the videos are a little more entertaining when I figure it out on camera, as opposed to, well, in this case, figured it out on camera, failed that, and then just happened to remember how I did it. So I thought there was a point I was going towards, and I don't know what it was. Well, anyway, the level's finished. We're a bit behind the curve on this one in terms of speed, but we're kind of on par with the symbol count. I wonder what I could have done to sped it up. I probably would have needed an entirely different sloot. Ooh, sorry about that. A word got stuck in my throat. It takes 3. Oh. Okay, I remembered the last puzzle. I don't remember this one. Okay. So basically I need to call alpha 3 times for every 1 beta, because there's 3 hydrogens per nitrogen in this ammonia molecule. Ooh. Well, I do see one thing I can build from, and it is that red can only handle 2 of the hydrogens, because there's only 2 ways he can leave the square that he's on. So basically, I can do something like this and say put 1 hydrogen here, and then he comes back around to grab the other one and then can go somewhere else with it, as opposed to just following this part of the loop again. And I might actually do something like that now that I think about it. But the point is that blue's going to have to come up and get the 3rd hydrogen at some point. Let's have you call in the hydrogen, because we're going to have to do that anyway. Where do I want to put it? If I build it around the spot that the nitrogen appears on, I won't have to worry about moving the nitrogen. At least until the molecule's finished, obviously. But the catch is that that's going to be a bit of a distance for him to go. I feel like there's a way I can get these Waldos synced up, or timed perfectly so that I don't have to use the sinks, I should have said. But I don't rarely see it, so let's just build the molecule around the nitrogen. So he puts it down here. I don't actually want you to do that. That's not pleasant. Okay, so if I do this, then I basically can't use the space again, because otherwise Red will get stuck into a loop. Like a smaller loop, as opposed to the full-on loop that I want him to follow. Ooh, this one's being tricky. Can I build it around the nitrogen? I feel like that's what I did before. I could just expand this loop and have him, like, come here. New mouse, same problems. And just have him avoid that space altogether. Although, admittedly, that will make it run a little bit longer. But I'm not really concerned with setting speed records. I just want it to work, so. Alright, so he puts it down here. And then let's just put the blue start sync here and his turn off sync, quote unquote, right there. And now blue. I think I can actually get away with something pretty simple. So you grab, or not grab, you call, then grab. And then what I want you to do is spacing doesn't matter, but he does have to call in a nitrogen because I do need to connect all the hydrogen to it. And then bond, which will connect all 4 pieces at once. Carry it over. You know what? We could go ahead and start red over again. Because, I mean, if I put this sync here, then we have to wait for blue to go all the way around. But if I put it, say, here, he's going to be long gone by the time red comes around with the next hydrogen. In fact, he's not even going to be in the way if red were to instantaneously get down there with the next hydrogen. So, as weird as this is, I think this will work, and it's actually a fairly decent one at that. Let's see. Yep. Wrong speed. Okay, so red put down the left hydrogen. Runs all the way around. Puts the... Oop. Okay, well, problem diagnosed. I accidentally had him trying to grab the hydrogen again instead of putting it down. Sets it down. Sets it down. Blue grabs the top hydrogen, calls in the nitrogen, connects all four, and delivers it. And red is about half done by the time blue gets back around into his waiting position, so not the most efficient. The most efficient would definitely be by the time blue gets back to his waiting spot. Oh. Sorry about that, I had to hold back a yawn. Most efficient would be is if just before blue gets back to his waiting spot, red kind of hits the spot to say, okay, blue, you can go. But it works pretty well. And more importantly, it works. It doesn't break, so... you know what? Speed 4. Whee! It really boggles my mind just how fast Speed 4 is. It kind of makes me wonder how much the game doesn't need to display stuff to actually figure out whether or not you're doing it right. Okay, split before bonding. I remember the concept behind this level, but I don't remember the execution. Pardon me just a second as I check recording time. 17 minutes. I feel like this will be a little bit of a shorter episode, again, because I am remembering what I did from the failed recording. But I think 3 levels is probably a good count. We'll see how it goes. Split before bonding. Okay, yeah. So we've got hydrogen and oxygen gases, and we have to combine them to make hydrogen peroxide. So we have to literally split the hydrogen apart and separate them before we connect them to the oxygen. Okay. So let's put the bonders in the shape of the molecule. I know I could do a square, but there's a little quirk in this game that I'll get to once I build the solution that should be a good reason why I didn't want... why... I'll explain something about the game that will hopefully tell you guys why I decided not to. Alright, so let's have red grab the hydrogen, bring it in. Ooh. So my original plan was to separate the hydrogen on these 2 middle bonders, move the one he's carrying up, and then do a quick dart back around to push the other one down. But I think I can actually do it a little bit faster and fancier if I do this. So that will spin the other side of the hydrogen into pointing down, then cut it off so it just sits there already. And then I can just run up and put it down. I think I can have both Wallers running at the same time, and in fact I'm going to challenge myself to do so. But for right now, something's telling me just stick a sync command right there. So let's see, the Wallers are going to move at a synchronized time. So let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so basically because I'm having blue grab the right-hand side of the oxygen molecule, he has to get to here. So he will get there in 8 turns. Red will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think what I actually have to do is I have to back blue up by 4? I was going to say 3, but I think 4 because otherwise they'd be adjacent to each other, and as I showed off in the tutorials, if they're adjacent to each other and the one in front has to make a turn, they're going to collide. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kind of get some track ready for when blue does deliver the hydrogen peroxide. It's gonna look weird, I know. Let's have him put it down. And actually this is a point where I do want to use the grab drop, because I can have a quick loop like this. Say delete the 2 bonds holding the oxygens together, and then connect everything at once. Oh wait, no, he's gonna grab right there again, so I don't have to put a grab command on the hydrogen like I was just about to do. And then he can set it down and send it out. Okay. I think this will work. I'm 99% sure this was not what I originally came up with, but I think this will work all the same. So let's see. So red... Nope. Blue's just a little bit too fast. Okay. So what if I moved all of these commands of his over one? Moving the drop isn't going to matter, but let's nudge the output up so that it does run just a teeny bit faster. Okay, let's try this again. And hey, it works. Okay. Awesome. So, the reason I don't want to put the hydrogen peroxide together in a square, say just put the hydrogens on one layer of the square and the oxygens in another, destroy the bonds, and then connect them, is because I'm not 100% sure of how the bonders determine which bonds to put together first. And what I mean by that is that if they were in a square, the 2 hydrogens were still adjacent to each other, and I removed all the bonds, and then I triggered a make bond command, it could connect each hydrogen to each oxygen, and then the 2 oxygens would connect together because they can still make one more bond, and would be all good. Or what it could do is just reconnect the hydrogens and then make a single bond to the oxygen. I don't know what it does, and I've never been able to really figure out the logic to the bonders to get around / take advantage of that sort of thing. I actually find solutions like this where you just forcefully destroy all the bonds and then make exactly however many you need to be somewhat better. Likewise, if I only had one of Blue's bond minus commands, it's possible that it would just replace the double bond between the oxygens and then fail to connect the hydrogens because the oxygens are both already at maximum bonds. I don't know what it does. I could figure it out, maybe, with a little bit of experimentation, but this way works just as well. Okay, so... oh wow, pretty good on speed. I was actually thinking I'd be a little bit on this side of the curve. I don't know why I keep talking about it. I really don't have a preference. Okay. settling into the routine. I hope that that's a good sign of things to come. I really hope that this episode, the audio is good. I can see that it's recording me. I just hope I'm not super loud in your ears. But I'm still new to this. I feel like that probably just made noise, me kind of clapping my hands together, and I apologize for that. I'm still new to this. I'm still figuring things out, but even so, I do want to thank all of you for watching. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you had a great day. In the next episode, we will be getting into our first real production levels, and I will see you then. Farewell for now.